Stratford, Stratford, Stratford. Every time there's talk of Shakespeare, there's talk of Stratford. Meanwhile, the real story is happening 44 miles up the road. Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Fred Faulkes. I'm a retired librarian, and I've had an opportunity to do a deep dive into Shakespeare for these past 25 years. And I've learned a lot of things that have put me at odds with my teachers. And so these are the things that I'm taking the time now to convey to you or to share with you. Today, I want to describe to you how William Shakespeare of Stratford upon Avon got to the theatre world down in London. Scholars of Shakespeare, biographers of our poet, kind of really muddled this up. A lot of evidence that they don't take into consideration. I'd like to just clarify a few things. Now, most of us know the rough outlines of William Shakespeare's life up to the time he left for London. He was born in 1564, so that in 1591-92 he was 27, 28 years old. We know that his father was a well-to-do businessman who was a town councillor, and so William, it is surmised, went to the grammar school, at least until the family got into financial difficulties, which happened in 1577 when William was 13. His father had to go into hiding for debt, and he remained in hiding for 10 years. And during this time, William had to be his factotum. So William got to be very good at handling money, trading in commodities, how to withhold commodities so that you can inflate the price later on, how to make money from lending money. So William became very, very good at that, and all the documents of his life from 1591 on continue to show that he was very much engaged in that side of life. During these wild sort of apprenticeship years of his, when he was working for his father, it happened that he sowed some wild oats with a woman who lived north of Stratford. I believe her brothers kind of roped him in and forced him to do the right thing. And so William, I think at the age of 17, 18, found himself a husband and very quickly a father. And 2 years later, 2 more children were born to the couple. And so by 1585, they had 3 kids. And it was at about this time that William's father was able to come out of hiding. And so the family's finances appear to have been stabilized. So now, what the townspeople of Stratford say, although it's hotly denied by the scholars and biographers, is that William was entered into a butcher's apprenticeship. That just doesn't make sense. What? Shakespeare? A butcher's apprentice? Are you joking? But, stop and think for a moment, because it actually makes a lot of sense. William's father was a glover by trade. That was his established licensed trade. And so he had to rely on the butchers for his skins. He couldn't just go and buy an animal and slaughter it himself. He had to buy those skins from a properly licensed butcher. That's, at this time in European histories, all the occupations were really closely guarded and really strongly regulated, and you step out of line and there were fines to be paid and whatnot. So anyway, with William, if he had become a butcher, then the Shakespeares would have been able to butcher the entire animal, skin, innards, bones, everything. It would have been just a much better family enterprise, as family enterprises at that time operated. But what the townspeople of Stratford told visitors when they came to inquire was that before William could finish his apprenticeship, he got caught poaching some, it appears it was deer. He was poaching deer out of the estate of Sir Thomas Lucy, who was one of the local magnates, one of the local lordships. Sir Thomas Lucy was a bad man to poach from because he was an ardent conservationist. The people of Stratford said the matter never went to trial. William just ran away from his master down to London and joined the theatre world. Just like that. That might be right outwardly. Outwardly, that might be right, but you couldn't just do something like that in this place at this time. Well, first of all, you would have needed a license from your local sheriff to be able to leave town. Then you would need a passport, an internal passport, to travel along the roads of the nation from Stratford to London. Then you would have needed, again, another license to be able to settle down in London and find a residence there and even start to work there. And then you would have needed someone to take you in at the other end. You couldn't just up and, go and apply for a job. This is the frickin' 16th century where everything was tightly controlled. I mean, I know people are going to pounce down upon me for saying this, but life in Elizabethan England was as tightly managed, as tightly controlled as was Stalinist Russia. So, be careful. This is not an era of freedom of movement, that's for sure. How did Master William from Stratford get down to London? The local townspeople make it sound so easy, but it couldn't have been that easy. Something else is going on. I think it's when we kind of open up the lens a little bit on Sir Thomas Lucy's life that we find the answer. He was a member of Parliament for the whole county of Warwick. His real day-to-day affairs revolved around the Council of Wales, which was 44 miles up the road from Stratford in the town of Ludlow. It was kind of the capital of Wales and the surrounding English counties. So this ruling council, the Council of Wales, was headed by a Lord President, and that was Henry Herbert, the Earl of Pembroke. Now, he was the father of William and Philip Herbert, the two men that Shakespeare's first folio is dedicated to. he, of course, at this time had just become, as we discovered earlier, patron to a new troupe of players. But he wasn't the only one of Shakespearean interest in the council. The crown prosecutor was a man named Abraham Faulkes, who was the author of a book called The Arcadian Rhetoric, which, according to according to scholarly consensus, lies at base of Shakespeare's poetics. And he also wrote The Lawyer's Logic, which again by scholarly consensus lies at base of Shakespeare's legal outlook. So he's of great interest, but of even greater interest is a man by the name of Fulke Greville. Now, Fulke Greville was also from Stratford. In fact, his family was the other local magnate, the other power family that lived, the Lucys lived on the east side of Stratford, and the Grevilles lived on the west side. Now, Greville's father was Baron Willoughby de Brooke, and he was the sheriff of Warwickshire. So indicating that when William Shakespeare got into legal trouble, it might well be that the sheriff was involved in that matter. What makes Fulke Greville really compelling is that at the end of his life, when he was living then at Warwick Castle, just up the road from Stratford, he was entertaining some guests, and they asked, my lord, you've had such an illustrious life. What are the 5 things that stand out for you the most? And he said, well, in the first place, to have been Shakespeare's and Ben Jonson's master. Master. Hello. Fulke Greville was an Elizabethan operative. He was clerk to the Council of Wales, but often when the Queen needed something done, she would call upon Greville to do it for her. He was a very discreet man, very effective in everything he did. And so even after her death, he went on, Greville did, to become a minister in the government of King James. So, well, Sir Thomas Lucy has William Shakespeare in his legal grips. The Earl of Pembroke, as patron to the players, can take in a new player. Abraham Faulkes, the poetry teacher, well, he has a bigger venue to broadcast his skills from, and Fulke Greville has something to master over. He's the one, I'm quite sure, who arranged for the license to leave, the internal passport to travel to London. Anyway, I hope that this has shed some light on how William Shakespeare of Stratford got to London. He would have needed the kind of assistance that the Council of Wales would have offered: the patronage, the licensing, the management, and Sir Thomas Lucy also, he got rid of a felon, but in his eyes at least, he got rid of a felon because William Shakespeare pretty much spent the next 25 years of his life in London, in the London theatre world. Next time, we're going to really uncover everything there is to know about William Shakespeare's coming to London and his joining the players. And I hope you come back for that. So bye for now. Cheerio.